This is the Jae Choe Show, brought to you by Karate Beyond. Discipline, focus, confidence. KarateBeyond.com. Let's begin.
I really like sitting on the floor.
It's good for you.
And it's cozy.
Well, no, I think people that sit on chairs and sleep in beds and are not getting a full range of motion in their during their day is you're doing a detriment to yourself, right? Like if you there's something called an Asian squat. Have you ever heard of an Asian squat? So you can go from, well, you know what a squat is, right?
Yeah.
Where you can be from a standing position,
right?
But you, instead of just going down about seat height, you go all the way down toward the floor, almost to have your ass touch the floor. And that and like if you go to the Asian countries and people like waiting at bus stops, you'll see them in that squat position,
really
waiting for the bus if there's no chairs to be had.
Yeah.
Well, here in America, that's not a common thing, is to just be relaxed in a squatted position. And so, because of that, you're not getting the full range of motion.
Right.
So you could end up having back problems, hip problems.
Yeah.
Right? Or, you got some sort of, I don't know, some joint problem because you don't get the full range of motion every day. And people sit on the floor. Always. They take their shoes off before going into the house.
Right.
Because they're, hanging out and chilling on the floor.
We
don't get that in the United States, and
No.
and I think because of that, I think people are in ill health because of it. Anyway, all right, Jae Choe Show episode 79. I'm here with Rachel Platting. Thank you, lady, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell me what you've been doing for the past few months that you're a musician by trade. You weren't able to go to places to play music.
Right.
So what have you been doing?
Well, I wept and gnashed my teeth for a little while about everything being canceled. And it's actually had implications beyond just our live events. Like streaming is down significantly. Like I had an average of like 1,200 listeners a month. I'm down to right now about 200.
Well, hold on. So you had streaming content.
Right, and I still do.
Right.
So my album's up, on Spotify and all those different places you can find music.
Yeah.
But people just aren't listening to music right now.
Because they have to watch their kids.
Right. They have to watch their kids.
They have to watch their kids.
Or they're like catching up on they're on social media catching up on the constant stream of news that we have.
Yeah.
Right now they're really not listening to music. So it's not just like not only live events, but also like streaming is down. Just everybody's really hurting.
Yeah.
So for myself, obviously I was really sad about it. My career had a lot of momentum coming into the spring. Things were going really well. I was playing a lot of places. I had a lot of really good opportunities, just like most of my peers in my line of work who, spring into summer is like go time.
Yeah.
But what I ended up doing after I kind of made peace with the fact that, okay, this is not a 2-week thing. Right, we were all kind of hoping. We all kind of knew it was going to be a big deal, but we were all kind of hoping it would be like short. I moved my writing space to my bedroom, and we have babysitting in the afternoons. And so she gets to our house, and I'll go for a walk. I call it walking to work. I'll go for a walk to clear my head.
Yeah.
And then I'll sit down and I'll just work on music for the whole afternoon until it's time to make dinner. So I've been writing a lot. Almost every day during the week, and sort of organically trying to figure out, what's next. What does this landscape look like for the next year? Because things are canceled till next fall.
Are they? Yeah. All right.
So, but that's it. Writing. Lots of writing.
You and your husband have 4 kids.
Yes.
3 girls and a boy. And I mean, you said your youngest is, 4 years old?
He'll be 4 the end of July.
How old's the oldest?
She just turned 10.
Oh, geez. They're really close together.
I know. Tell me about it.
Okay. So if they're anything like my wife and I's children were, they're young as well, under the age of 10. Well, 10 and under. I mean, they're constantly need attention. Right? So, I mean, imagine, all of your listeners, they just kind of, they don't have time
Right.
to listen to shows, listen
Right.
to music, listen to any podcasts
Right.
because they're too busy watching the kids.
Yeah, they've been remote schooling.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Now that things have kind of loosened up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
are you back out and playing again anywhere?
Well, I did play a show last weekend in Virginia. I was out of town. My first leaving the house. It felt so surreal, like going to an airport.
You
know?
actually got on a
I
got
got
on a flight.
on a flight.
Uh-huh.
I flew on a plane, and it felt very weird. But I played a show last Friday night in Virginia, first one in 3 months.
Yeah.
And with my friend up there. And then I have one, I'm just going to guest appear at another friend's show next Friday. Other than that, things are slowly starting to open up. I just confirmed with Union Hall here in town.
Yeah.
We're going to do a full band show.
Shout out to Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to do a full band van plating show August 7th, sort of as a celebration of like things being open again. We can play loud.
I totally mispronounced your last name.
That's okay.
I said platting instead of plating.
Lots of people do.
Damn. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
Hey, but we got that in common because people mispronounce my name all the time.
Yeah.
They say Cho.
Yeah.
And it's obvious because it's spelled Cho.
Right.
But it's not Cho, it's
But
Che.
it's Che.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know, whatever. Litmus test. Litmus test for van plating fans as well. So, okay, all right, so the show's coming up, Union Hall,
August
which will
7th.
be awesome. What was it like being on a flight going to Virginia?
It was weird because you had to wear, there are really strict regulations. So you have to wear a mask. They didn't make us wear gloves, but like all of the flight attendants were wearing gloves and masks. And they serve you like water in a can with a straw.
What?
Which is like, why? How is that problem solving? I'm really not sure what that's.
Water in a can with a straw.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Hell?
What? But the cool thing, being an introvert and hating sitting next to people on planes, they're social distancing now, so it's perfect.
Was there actually like a spot between people?
Yeah, you had to leave the middle spot open. So I was like in heaven.
Where did I see, like, where certain airlines, they tried doing that, but they weren't successful, and they just packed them all in?
I did see that on the
Were you
internet
fearful
somewhere.
of that at all? Or no?
I was more just because I always am, not because of COVID. Just because I never want to talk to anyone on a plane.
You don't want to talk to anyone on a plane.
It's so bad.
Yeah. Okay. All
Well,
right.
I'm carrying my violin, and there's always like the old man that's like, "What you got in there, bazooka?
Oh God.
What you got in there, hun?"
All right. So they had the spot open.
Yeah.
Between seats. Okay.
Yeah.
Were they doing like temperature checks on the way in?
They were for the crew,
but not for the
but
passengers.
not for the passengers.
You would think they'd do it for everybody.
right?
Yeah.
But they didn't. I feel like some of the rules are just kind of arbitrary. But they did do more going through security. I don't remember if someone checked my temperature because there was just a lot more. But they did the full pat down on everybody and all the extra. It's weird, right? Because you would think less physical contact. But I don't know. It just felt like there were a lot of extra steps, and yet they didn't necessarily make sense. But that's America.
Oh jeez. Okay. All right. So you get on the flight. You had the water with the can and the straw, and everyone's got a spot between them that's empty. Okay. Other than that, I mean, anything else?
Other than that, just the masks everywhere.
And everyone had a mask on.
Everybody, absolutely right. And you had to keep it on the flight. You couldn't like crash and take it off.
Did you feel the tension
Yes.
in the air?
Especially in Atlanta, because that's the other thing. Everybody's connecting now. There aren't direct flights.
What?
Pretty much anywhere. When I went to book a flight, no matter where I was flying, I had to connect through Atlanta or through somewhere. So
No direct flights?
No, like I couldn't do Tampa to Dulles, which is what I would have done, or Orlando to Dulles. I had to connect through Atlanta.
Why?
I don't know.
Maybe it's just the duration of time in an airplane?
I have no idea why that would be, but literally every flight I looked at, I had to connect. And the mood in Atlanta with everything going on was really like kind of ominous being in that airport because you could just tell people, people were just really, really on edge there.
Yeah. Damn. I mean, that's. When you did a show though.
I did a show,
right?
And I was surprised. There was like probably 150 people there. It was outside.
Okay, outdoor.
It was outside. Yeah. So it was at this really beautiful brewery in the Shenandoah Valley. So there's mountains all around you, and they did it in their outdoor space. So their indoor part was still closed, like you couldn't go in there,
right?
You know, and they all had their masks on and everything.
So everybody had the mask on at the concert.
Pretty much everybody, at least at the beginning. People were kind of taking them off toward the end as the crowd thinned out. But I was like really encouraged by how many people came, you know, because like especially after being 3 months off the road, it would be so depressing for the first show back to be just a shitty show.
Yeah.
You
just
know?
like a couple people in the crowd and you hear crickets in the background.
Yeah. And it was so fun that like people came out and they brought their families and they wanted to sit and listen and they were like in it, you know. So that was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
So.
Did you, are you a fan of Dave Chappelle?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Dave Chappelle recently did a stand-up special that is on YouTube, and it's called 846.
I've seen it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, it's really good. It's more social commentary than it is comedy. I mean, it's still really funny, but he had his show where he did it at I want to say like a ranch or someplace outdoor where they did like weddings and stuff, and you could see how everyone was spaced out. Everyone had masks. Everyone was getting their temperature checked on the way in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting how he pulled it off.
Yeah.
But it's a good show. I highly recommend, if you guys haven't seen 846, check it out on YouTube, Dave Chappelle. It's really good like social commentary on what's going on right now from his perspective, obviously. Okay, let's back it up a little bit.
Okay.
Hey, what made you become a musician?
I don't feel like I've ever not been a musician. I can remember singing before I could. My parents would say before I could really like speak in English words, I was singing. It's just what I always was and always wanted to do. And my dad played guitar and sang around the house just all the time. My mom plays piano. I don't know. It was just always kind of in me from. It's one of those things that it's inseparable from kind of who I am,
right?
You know, and so I've just always done it. I started my first like official instrument was the violin. I started on that when I was 3, and played all the way through. I mean, I still play. I do a lot of studio work on the violin now, but that's what paid for my college was the fiddle.
What?
Yes.
You paid for college by playing your violin?
Pretty much.
No way.
Yeah, I went to Florida Southern, and it was that in academics, but those two covered me, so I didn't have to pay for school, which was awesome.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No, because you know when a parent hears their kid saying, "Well, you know, I want to be a musician."
Yeah.
And I want that to be to be my profession, and that's how I'm going to make my money.
Yeah.
Parents are like, I don't know about
You're
that.
right.
You know, there's a lot of people that want to be musicians, honey, and you know, not all of them make it.
Right.
And they certainly don't make a lot of money for those that don't. So you know, you should probably go to college and get a
major in business.
You know, some other degree, and so that you're able to get a job when you come out.
My parents have always been so.
Supportive.
And just cool about like they don't care what I do, you know, like that is so they're proud of who I am as a human being. So what I'm doing professionally, like they don't even know half of what I do right now, and it's fine.
Right.
You know, so
they're not all up in your business trying to
no.
make adjustments for you.
No, they were super supportive of me. You know, they took me to all the things, you know, growing up and supported my music. They just knew that it was part of who I was, so they were always just there for it. And with school, we didn't have a lot of money at all, and so my choice was like figure out how to pay for college or don't go to college.
And you went to Florida Southern, which is not cheap.
No, I mean compared to now it
was,
but it wasn't. It was the same price as, you know, it was comparable to all the private schools. But I loved the music program there, and so that's where I ended up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, but did you get a degree in music?
Yes. Super useful degree. Violin and vocal performance.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's handy now.
It is handy now. It's just funny because people look at you like, you can major in that?
Yeah.
What?
All right.
But-
And no one knows that Florida Southern is able to, dole out degrees. For that sort
totally
of thing.
a thing.
Right. Okay. All right. I mean, growing up, I've known plenty of people that have tried their hand at, being in bands and being an artist or a performer, and it doesn't work out.
It's hard.
It's really, really difficult.
It's really, really hard. It's really a beatdown. Honestly, I feel like being an artist is sort of like this. It's almost like something you're cursed with. Like you have to be compelled to do it.
Yeah.
Or you are just not going to do it.
Right.
That's actually how I ended up writing music again after, we have kids. I took a break from writing and touring, and I was actually leading worship for a number of years at our church, which I loved, and I love those people. But years went by, and I felt like I was just walking around with this weight on my chest, and I needed to be writing and making music. And I feel like that's the thing you have to be an artist. It's like if it's for your lifetime, like it cannot be about being
money.
Successful.
It can't be about money.
No,
Right.
it can't. It really can't. For you to be able to sustain it, because the arts professions are like this. Sometimes you're doing fine, and sometimes you're not. So if it's something that's always with you that you can't escape it, then you're probably
Right.
That's probably what you should be doing.
I mean, if you're able to pull it off, which it sounds like you have, that's a blessing, right? You're
for
able
sure.
to,
For sure.
you're able to rationally, right, sensibly balance having a family and managing your finances at the same time, being able to do gigs and be profitable, right? I mean, it's kind of like, it's a weird thing to say, be profitable in music. Right? You don't put those two things together unless, of course, you have a recording contract and you're with some big company or what have you.
Oof.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'd want that right now. I mean, I say that right,
Yes.
but if somebody called me, I'd be like, sure, when I can always write more songs, take them all, But yeah, we're definitely blessed too, because my husband works, and when I was writing this last record that came out in November, here's what the situation was. Because I'm insane. We have 4 kids. We were homeschooling. My husband works from home and travels. I was working, also leading worship, and I was writing an album, because that makes sense. And Jack and I, my husband Jack, we decided that we would set aside my salary, and we were actually able to do it. I mean, we had to pay attention, to our finances for sure. But we set aside my salary for that year in order to pay for the things to come. So in order to pay for the album and to pay for promoting it and all of that stuff. And not everybody gets to do that.
Yeah.
That's definitely like a huge gift that we're even able to do it. So for sure, blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and to have a husband that's totally cool.
Yeah.
With you being on the road.
Yes.
And recording,
Yes.
and there's a lot of strangers. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he
strangers, strange towns, etc. Yeah.
He just survived, 5 days with the kiddos while I was recording, and he did a better job than I do when he's gone. He's very.
He's got to be
Yeah.
well put together mentally.
Yes, he
in
is.
order to have 4 kids. Good God, guys, what the hell? 4 kids.
Sex gets you in trouble.
I'm gonna go see that guy on the I-4 billboard.
Jack
here
went to
soon.
him.
Did he?
4th kid, I'm telling you, a weekend.
The Vastweb guy?
Yeah.
Oh. Did he actually see the Vastweb guy,
No,
or
he
is it
saw
like
the
one of the
other guy.
other docs?
But he was great.
Yeah.
In and out. I literally had our son in the car. Like, he was like a week or 2 old max. I was like, we're done. No more.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, and
I need to go see the Vastweb guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really helped our mental health at home.
I can't imagine I have 4 kids. I have a friend of mine, Mike Stratton. That's you, man. 4 kids. That's insane. But
It
you guys
is.
you guys are able to manage it, because once they get to a certain age, they look like they just help each other out.
They do, and they're fun. I mean, we love them. They're all so different, and it's like it's exhausting all the time, but it's so beautiful too. Not in like a fluffy Disney movie kind of way at all.
Yeah.
But just the stretching that it's brought to my heart and my character and my husband's too. Like there's nothing that will like tear you apart so fast to rebuild you, right? As having children.
Yeah.
It just changes everything. But yeah, they're amazing. Like I wouldn't trade them for anything. I'm just tired,
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's take it away from the music for a second. There's a couple questions that I ask all my guests, and you can answer them however which way you like.
Yeah.
The first question being, what do you want? What do you want? What does Rachel Van Plating want?
I want to love my people well.
Mm.
That's a big thing for me. Loving well and living in this world honestly. Those are the big things that I am pursuing every day. That I'm trying to anyway. Being really, really honest with myself and with the world, and just like not holding back or hiding. Okay,
all right. That's a heroic answer. That's what we categorize on the show. We categorize it as two different types of answer. You got a heroic answer, which is the kumbaya answer, right? Is the world peace answer, but then there's the other one, which is the completely material, self-centered. I want it because I want an answer.
Yeah.
What's that one?
That one would be I want to win some Grammys so that my husband can quit his job and do what he likes.
Win Grammys?
Yeah.
I mean, does it really have to be a Grammy? Right?
Yes.
No.
Sorry, I'm yelling.
You went,
Did you see how I said plural too? I said plural Grammys.
Hold on. In what category would you win a Grammy?
Probably Americana. I don't know, Song of the Year. How many categories are there?
Girl, jeez, that's lofty goals. But if you're gonna have lofty goals, might as well. What the hell? Yeah. All right.
That's what I want to do. I want to have that kind of job security where I have worked so hard and gotten to a certain level where I can keep working at that level and collaborate with artists in that world. And I'm totally I'm not bullshitting you. I'm real. That's what I want to do.
Hey, I'm down. Yeah.
Listen, I have no control over whether that will happen.
Sure.
Other than me doing my end. But I would love for Jack to be able to focus on the things that he loves to do. He loves his job. He's good at it. But he'd also be a really amazing tour bus driver / personal chef / he's gonna love this when he watches this. And
you made me your bitch.
No, he loves that stuff. Also, he's just really good at keeping our home running. He's so great at it.
He's Mr.
So
Mom.
great. He's so great at it. He keeps us running. Me, I'm a mess. He's great at it.
Is he the opposite of you kind of thing where he you're the uber creative type that you can't, not very good at organization.
Yeah,
the cliche stuff, right?
Yeah.
You got your shirt on backwards, whatever.
Yes.
You don't realize it. And he's very organized and by the book and on time for everything and exactly what he has to be at any given moment.
He always is. And somehow he is the most likable person you will ever meet. People always they meet me first and maybe that's fine, but then they meet Jack and he's
the
I
best.
love Jack. He's our favorite.
Well, that's cool.
He's so fun.
Yeah. How'd you guys meet? Are you a Lakeland native?
Almost. I mean, not really though. I moved here for school in 1997. So it's been a while. We moved away for a couple of years after college, and then as Lakeland does, it sucked us back in.
Sucked you back in.
Yeah. So we moved
Something
back.
about Lakeland, it does that.
I know.
Because when I was a kid, I wanted to get the hell out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then here you are.
And I'm back.
I know.
Hell.
I don't know. So we met right before I went to Florida Southern. We met that summer, actually not in person. Can you believe the internet existed back then? We met on a message board.
No.
From a summer camp we both went to. I can't, it's the truth. That's how we met.
What?
Isn't that random? We both went to this summer camp out in Colorado, and after you went to this camp, the way you would keep in touch with people is they had all these different message boards for the different sessions of the camp. And so I was bored one day. I totally started it. I was bored one day and I saw something he said about one of the workshops. And
did you see his picture?
No picture.
It was just messages.
It was just messages at first. Just messages. This is how fun he is.
Okay.
His personality is like addictive.
Okay.
So I messaged him like, wow, so insightful what you said about blah, 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 And then this was instant messenger days.
Okay. All
he
right.
instant messaged me on AOL. His name was Gooseman98.
Is he like what is it, Top Gun fan?
Yeah.
Is he really?
He was then. I mean.
Okay. All right. He's probably so stoked about the new one coming out. Oh, it's IMAX. It's going to be great.
Funny.
Tom Cruise flew the jet himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we instant messaged each other. There we were in the 90s, leaving the window open on the computer,
Right.
And
it's like a Sleepless in Seattle type.
Yes,
type stuff.
totally.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't stop talking to each other all the time, every day. And so he would say this should have been a preview to him having a career in sales, because he was looking at colleges to go to. I graduated a year early, so we're the same age, but I was already going to school. And he was looking at colleges, so he was a senior in high school that year. We were so young, little bitty babies. His grandma lived in Winter Haven, and she had tons of grandkids, and she'd always been wishing that one of her grandkids would go to Florida Southern. I was at Florida Southern, so he was like, hey, Mom, Dad, oh, man, Florida Southern has a really strong business department. I should go there. They do. It's great. But so he talked his mom and dad into coming down to visit the school that November in 1997, and stayed with his grandma and Grandma Lois, who was to become one of my very best friends in college. And we met in person like 4 months after we started talking, and it was like
4 months?
Yeah, something like that.
You guys were on the message boards for 4 months before you
Instant
met?
Messenger, before we met in person.
Whoa.
Yeah.
When did you finally see his picture?
Probably like 3 weeks after we started talking.
You guys were like vanguards of the internet.
Right?
Right? Like so far right now kids got Tinder.
I know.
Or like TikTok.
I know.
Which baffles me, by the way.
I know.
And you guys are sitting there just texting each other. What essentially what you've been doing is text
right.
like old school Morse code type shit.
Right. And like mailing each other pictures, like pictures on film that we took.
You mailed each other photos?
Can you imagine that? Think of the suspense.
Wow.
We mailed each other pictures. So this must have been like 3 weeks after we started talking.
So old-timey,
right?
yet so cool at the same time.
And so it's like, okay, I'll mail you some pictures, and you can mail me some pictures. And
Can
you imagine
the internal dialogue, the decision making that goes with which photo should I take? Which photo should I take of him? Like, I can't,
right?
that whole thing,
And terrifying because you already like the person and you haven't seen them. Like, what if he's not cute? Then what happens?
Very true.
Or what if she's not cute?
Yeah.
So we mailed each other pictures, and we're. I've never told this. I've never told this
story. Could you imagine how the course would change? The course of your history would change. You finally meet, and it's like nothing.
Right.
All the photos that he sent of himself were not of him.
Can you imagine?
And he's turns out to be like someone just not attractive at all.
Yeah.
You'd be like, holy shit.
I would have just walked around. I just walked around, not said anything, and just gone back to my dorm room and never spoken to him again. That's what I was cold. That's what I would have done.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But you guys headed off, and he wasn't grotesque.
No, he's adorable. 6'4" adorable.
Damn, he's 6'4"?
Yeah.
God, that's gotta be nice to be that tall.
I think so.
I'm like 5'7" on a good day.
I can never find
5'8".
stuff in our house because he puts stuff away and it's like way above my eye level. I'm serious. It's rough.
You're putting stuff away. It's like out of your arm's reach.
I can't find it
because he knows that you can't get to it. Mm-hmm. Oh, that is funny.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So that's my life.
Okay. All right. So now, guilty pleasures. What are your some? Well, give me one or two of your guilty pleasures.
I don't really feel guilty about any of them. Whiskey and bourbon, I guess you could call it that. And sleeping in when I should be getting up.
Sleeping in is good for you.
Okay.
I think people don't sleep enough.
Yeah.
I honestly think people don't sleep enough.
I agree. And I've struggled with insomnia most of my life, so it's like on the nights when I actually crash really well, I just like want to lay there and stay in bed. But it's hard to do with the kids, especially because Jack, our household MVP, always gets up with them, you know, so I'm like the queen laying in bed with like...
He's so on top of things.
Isn't he awesome?
God, he sounds like my wife.
He's like, I have a child bring me my coffee in the morning. That's how spoiled I am. Yeah.
Damn.
Anyway.
That's really good.
So my whole life is a guilty pleasure, I guess.
Okay. All right. You got hooked up with a guy that's willing to tolerate your level of crazy in life.
That's exactly right.
And you know, and all the kids follow suit. So,
yes.
You know,
yes. It's not boring. I think he likes me because I'm not boring.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Okay. Guilty pleasures. Your entire life's a guilty pleasure. What would be something that people would be surprised to know about you?
That I'm actually a lot more organized than people think, and a lot less laid back. I come off as this like boho free spirit person, but I like
bohemian.
I practice it like obsessively with my craft, you know. Like if I care about something, I'm all in.
Yeah.
If I don't care about it, I don't care about it at all.
Right.
But I'm very, you know, a lot of people have said that in performances that my singing seems really effortless, but I've actually I've honed in the way I sound, like I have to be told to take breaks from work because I love it so much. So some people would probably be surprised by how much work actually goes into like looking like you're not trying. What else would be something somebody wouldn't know? I used to be athletic.
Yeah?
Most people don't think that.
Like in what way?
I was a swimmer. My events were like the 500 butterfly.
Whoa.
I'm addicted to pain.
Whoa.
Like,
wait, hold on.
like,
you told me that you did Kenpo for a while.
Oh, I did.
Kenpo karate.
I did do that for several years. I did. My dad, I've always been kind of on the small side, and my dad he was actually really into karate. We used to grow up Sunday afternoons. We would watch those overdubbed karate films.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Kung Fu Theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every Sunday afternoon. He loved
Channel 44.
it. Yes.
Yes, I do remember those
Yes.
days. Saturday morning.
Yes, we loved it. And he would practice with me and my brother, you know. And so as soon as I got old enough and there was someone who had a Kenpo dojo locally, he signed me up. And
Not here in town.
Not here in town. This was up in Apopka.
Okay.
So Orlando area.
Yeah.
And I was the only girl, and I already had a bad attitude, so I was kind of trouble in there. I had to be told to behave myself a little bit because, like, I knocked a guy out once.
Oh, jeez.
And that's not nice. Like,
No.
you're sparring. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah,
but he'd
yeah.
been talking shit.
Okay.
And he was bigger than me.
That's right.
So I kicked him
You knocked the fool out.
right here.
You put him hit him in the temple.
So, so bad. It was so bad. Yeah, so we did that for a couple of years, and then the guy who had the dojo, his mom got sick, and so he moved away, and we didn't really know anyone else that like we felt really comfortable with, you know, because he had just a really good attitude about all of it, about self-defense and body awareness and all of those
He was a
things.
good instructor.
Yes.
He was a kind
really,
person. He wasn't a sociopath.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So that was rare. So I did do that, and I was actually pretty good at it, but I don't remember anything.
Got it. Okay. All right.
And swimming I did gymnastics. Yeah, so, you know.
So you're an athletic individual. Yeah. It wasn't all music.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Most people don't believe me, but it's true.
Yeah.
I have pictures.
You know, when it comes to being a musician or an artist in general, right? There's a fine line that's being towed as to what you want to do and what your heart wants.
Yes.
Versus what you know can be construed as being successful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's a decision I think that a lot of people make all the time.
Yes.
The creative people make all the time. You know, when you say, you know, hey, I'd love to win a Grammy, right? You know, that is that at a cost
Right.
for you, right? Or will it be
right.
at a cost for you?
Right.
Because when people hear top 40
Yeah.
music,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of it is very, very,
It's
very
crap.
produced.
A lot of it is crap.
But then
Yeah.
there are some
Then there's
pieces
some
that
that's
are
really
really
good.
authentically, good. I don't know. You're going to come to that bridge one of these days, or you say, hey, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to write a pop song.
I don't know.
I'm just going to write a pop song. I'm going to make
know.
it super, super catchy and super jingly, where you can hear it, in the background and Target.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I think that it's possible to be honest, and I mean, like you're saying, there have been artists who have, won Grammys and been like worldwide successes that do make authentic, real, honest music.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that Brandi Carlile won last year in her category, and that was huge for her to win versus one of the more produced pop country people was a big deal.
Oh geez, country. I can't even recognize country music anymore.
Who even knows
what
what it is?
in the world am I watching?
And I have high hopes for Fiona Apple's new album.
Oh, she's got one coming out?
She has one that just came out. Yeah. It is probably the most raw record she's ever made.
That Win the Pawn album is
mind-blowing, right?
It still holds up, and it's still so good. I downloaded it a couple months back.
Yeah.
Just because out of the blue, a song popped in my mind. I was like, oh, I can't remember how haunting she is.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that's more the vibe for me. Like if I can, I have no. When I was younger, and I think a lot of us are like this in our whatever our chosen career path is, we feel all this pressure when you're in your 20s. Like if I don't make this stage by the time I'm 30, then I'm going to walk away kind of thing. But for me, I've learned that music isn't going to go away for me, so I'm just going to keep working at it. And that is a goal, but I want to make that a goal for the excellence of my craft rather than changing the way that I write. Like my friend that I was recording with last weekend, his name is Brian Elijah Smith, and he's always saying all the time, wouldn't it be so cool to like make it on like a sad song, because if you can break through that, because there's these different tiers in the music industry, if you can break through that pop music level with a single that is like so authentically yourself, then you're sort of freed up to do whatever. Ray LaMontagne did that.
Yeah. And he's incredible. Yeah.
Ray LaMontagne did that with his first record. And so it's possible, yes.
Ryan Adams.
Oh my gosh, that's a great example.
Yeah.
Same thing. So I think it's
but
possible.
But he's like loved because, in the world of musicians and songwriters, he's he's one of those guys that breathes that rarefied air. Right.
Yeah. And like to be a Ryan Adams or to be a Ray LaMontagne or to be a Fiona Apple, like what I think a lot of artists don't understand is like you legit have to be making art all the time in order to get that good. You need to be able to sit down and write a song.
And wouldn't you say though it's a bit easier now because of social media? I mean, if you have a following or if you have an audience that you've been building over time, that are willing to follow you through that journey, if you will, because I think that's what like Ryan Adams does.
Yes or
because
yes
he
no.
He makes albums that are just like, it almost feels like he's just doing it for him.
Right.
And nobody else.
And he can afford to do that.
Yeah.
He can afford to do that because he's done so well. And he did so well because he worked really hard to write songs and write songs and
Did
write
you see
songs.
his Instagram over COVID, during
no,
the months
I
of
haven't
COVID?
Seen it.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
He's been taking requests.
That's awesome.
For covers.
I've been doing that, but I'm not Ryan Adams.
So good.
That's
so
awesome.
good. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I did that with my fans for a while, and then I fell off the map for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that it's totally possible to be real and be yourself and hit that mark. I just think that most of us underestimate how much work is involved in that. And it's not just the work, it's also like relational connections and, there's just a lot that goes into it. In some ways, yeah, it's easier to build a following. In some ways, it's a lot harder because streaming is so big and algorithms, especially in Spotify, the Spotify algorithm is really geared toward like certain genres of music. So if you have sort of like more hipster pop sounding stuff, you're going to get playlisted a lot faster than like a singer-songwriter like myself. It's just not it has to do with like the age and the demographic of the people who use Spotify mostly. So like in some ways it can be easier, in a lot of other ways it can be harder because there's so many people making music. Like right now it's almost impossible to get your music really heard in like the industry world unless you have a publicist. If you don't have a publicist, I don't know how anyone would find you. And that can make me sound douchey, but it's just the truth.
Large YouTube following?
A large YouTube following, which also YouTube is hard because you can't really pay for promotions on YouTube the same way you would like on Facebook. It's just all very, very nuanced. So I feel like in some ways it's easier to just like get things out there, but it's harder to pass that mark in your career where things are paying for themselves. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like it's harder to make it sustainable as a real job than it used to be, because it used to be everybody came out to shows. And I'm not just talking like pre-COVID. I mean like when you and I were younger, people went to concerts on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know,
festivals.
Festivals. And people had no problem paying for that, and they would go. And now show attendance is down. Lots of people are on their phones and on YouTube, and like it's just a whole different ball game as a performer figuring that out. Even as we're seeing like with this quarantine thing, everybody who does what I do for work sort of like rushed and shifted over to the live stream world. And so now that's become as oversaturated as streaming is. So it's just like, it's a weird time. It's almost like you, in order to do anything worthwhile, you just have to shut all of that off. Just shut it off. Forget about the noise.
Create content.
And create content. And engage with the people who love you, who love your work. I mean, I have fans DM me every day, and my following's not huge, you know, but the people who love my work are like in it, and they're involved, and they want to hang out, and they want to talk, and they want to know when I'm going to play, and they get mad when I stop posting song videos, you know, and that's a good feeling. Like that's what you want. Those people are important. They're why I'm doing it.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Do you want to sing us a song?
Sure.
To end it? Here, I'm going to adjust the mic here for you.
This is my birthday present to myself, this guitar.
What is it?
It's a 1957 Martin 015.
It's beautiful.
I just got it at Jimmy's Vintage Guitars over in Auburndale, like, I think it was last week. I don't know. Do you know Michael MacArthur?
I do.
He's a friend of mine. He went with me to play guitars.
I just had his wife
on the show. Jennifer.
Yeah, I just had Jen on the show.
Anyway. All right, this song is called Standing Still. It's on my album that's available everywhere you stream, download, or listen to music. I won't stop you, I'll stand still, watch you run away from me. That's not how it's supposed to be. I'll be standing still right here till you come running home to me, 'cause that's who I'm supposed to be. Where did you fall down? Where did you fall down? I didn't know you cared so much. You kept on running as fast as you could. I don't mind it, I'm right here. Go on and ride as far as you can. I won't let go, holding on to your hand. I'm right here, right here. I'll be standing still right here till you come running home to me, 'cause that's who I'm supposed to be. I won't stop you, I'll stay still till you come running home to me, 'cause that's who I'm supposed to be. Where did you fall down? I didn't know you cared so much. You kept on running fast as you could. I don't mind it. I'm right here. Go on and ride as far as you can. I won't let go, holding on to your hand. I'm right here, right here. Where did we fall down? Where did we fall down? You didn't know I cared so much. You kept on running as fast as you could. But I don't mind it. I know you're right here. Go on and run as far as you can. I won't let go, holding on to your hand. I'm right here, right here. I didn't know you cared so much. You kept on running as fast as you could. I don't mind it. I'll be waiting. Go on and run as far as you can. I won't let go, you're holding on to my hand. You're right here, right here. Where did we fall down? Where did we fall down?
Thank you for listening to the Jae Choe Show. Brought to you by Karate Beyond. Discipline, focus, confidence. KarateBeyond.com. Martial arts classes for men, women, and children. After school pickup, evening classes, and summer camp. Visit KarateBeyond.com.